A long shadow genocide against Native Americans, you know? We talk about terrible things in history, things that make you shake your head and say, that can't be right. The way Native Americans were treated in this country, that's one of those things. It's a story of being pushed around, lied to, and hurt in ways you wouldn't believe. From the moment Europeans landed, it was like a shadow fell over the Native American people, a shadow of genocide. Genocide, that's a big word. It means trying to wipe out a whole group of people. And that's what happened here. Over hundreds of years, Native Americans were attacked, their land was stolen, their cultures were ripped apart. It's a story that needs to be told, a story we can't afford to forget. We're talking about millions of people who were here long before anyone else, living their lives connected to the land. Then, everything changed. It's a story of survival, of fighting back against impossible odds, a story that's still unfolding today. Pushed aside, losing their land. Imagine someone coming into your home and saying, "This is mine now. Get out." That's what happened to Native Americans all across this land. Europeans arrived, hungry for land and resources, and they didn't care who was already there. Native Americans were driven from their ancestral homes, the places they knew like the back of their hands. Forests where they hunted, rivers they fished in, mountains they considered sacred, all of it taken, often with violence and cruelty. It wasn't just about taking land, though. It was about destroying a way of life. Native Americans were deeply connected to the land. It was part of their culture, their religion, their very being. Taking that land was like taking a part of their soul. Broken promises, treaties torn apart. You know how important a promise is, right? When someone breaks a promise, it hurts. Now imagine a government, the leaders of a nation, making promises and breaking them over and over again. That's what happened to Native Americans. Treaties were signed, agreements made between the U.S. government and Native American tribes. These treaties were supposed to protect Native American land and rights, but time and time again, those treaties were ignored, broken, tossed aside like yesterday's news. It was like a cruel game. The government would make a promise, Native Americans would hold up their end of the bargain, and then the government would break its word and take more land, more resources. It was a cycle of betrayal that went on for generations. Trails of tears and death. The unthinkable happens. The Trail of Tears. It's a name that sends chills down your spine. Imagine being forced to walk thousands of miles in the dead of winter, leaving behind everything you know and love. That's the reality Native Americans faced. Thousands died on these forced marches. Children, elders, the sick and weak, they couldn't survive the journey. Families were torn apart, their suffering unimaginable. And these weren't isolated incidents. Massacres like the one at Wounded Knee left deep wounds that still haven't healed. These weren't battles, they were acts of genocide. Innocent people, gunned down, their lives extinguished. It's a dark chapter in American history, a chapter we need to acknowledge and learn from.